Unboxing and review of the Yamaha silent guitar SLG200N. The Yamaha silent guitar comes in two main models and a sub-model, and the main models are the steel strung guitar, which is the 200S, and the nylon strung guitar, which is the 200N. However, they also make the 200NW, which is a nylon strung guitar with a slightly wider fingerboard. And this is for those people who really want the feel of a true classical guitar. If you're interested in seeing a review of the steel strung version of this guitar, I have done one, and the link to that video is down below in the description. Right, let's do the unboxing. And I bought this guitar from Gear for Music, and it's come in an absolutely huge box, which is good because it means it's double boxed. Now, just for your reference, I bought the last three guitars I've bought for reviews from three different suppliers, just so I could compare their customer service and their packaging. And it's worth noting, the guitar I bought from Thomann was really well packaged, double boxed and very well protected. The guitar I bought from GAC just came in the inner box, and the guitar was actually damaged. And now we've got this one from Gear for Music, which is also very well packaged. And whilst I know it's not very ecological to have something double boxed, it's a lot more ecological and it's a lot more economical to recycle a box than to have to recycle an entire guitar. Right, let's start unpackaging the guitar, and hopefully this won't take too long. It looks like I could actually cut the sellotape at the end of the box and slide the inner box out. Let's see. And they've actually padded the box out with a smaller box to stop the inner box from rattling around, which is a good idea. Right, there's the inner box, and it's obviously the standard Yamaha factory provided box. And there's one slight concern. The outer box was completely intact and undamaged. However, the Yamaha box has got quite a nasty knot on one of the corners. But hopefully it's not reached the guitar. Let's open it up and find out. As with the steel strung guitar, nylon strung guitar comes in a really nice padded case, and this has been put in a plastic bag to keep the damp out, I assume. So we'll take it out of the bag so we can take a look at it. I'll speed this bit up. The gig bags that Yamaha provide with these silent strings guitars are really nice quality. They've got a handle on the top and a handle on the side, and they're made of a thick canvasy material, and they're really well padded. And I quite like the little touch that they'll embroider the logo onto the side of the case. Right, let's take a look in the side pocket before we open it up and look at the guitar. And in the side pocket we have the instruction manual. We have a little bag with batteries and a truss rod adjustment Allen key in it. We get a set of headphones, which are Yamaha branded, and we also get a strap for the case so you can carry it over your shoulder. Right, let's get the guitar out. And when you open the case for the first time, it's quite strange to see the guitar in two halves. But it explains why the case has to be such good quality, because I'd imagine to find a replacement that would store the guitar in this manner would be quite difficult. And looking at the guitar at this angle, stored in the gig bag, it certainly looks nice enough. So far so good then. Let's finish taking the guitar out of the case. And here's the main guitar body and the wing. And I chose the colour of Tobacco Burst because it's the same colour as the steel strung guitar I've got, and I wanted to compare like with like. Right, let's put the guitar together. To put the guitar together, we simply line up the metal dowel in the wing with the hole in the body of the guitar. You then push it into place, and to tighten it up, you use the strap button. And once you've pushed both sides of the wing into place and tightened up both strap buttons, you'll find it holds really strongly. The next thing we need to do is put the batteries in. And the batteries provided are AA batteries, which are quite unusual as most preamps have the square 9V batteries. But I'm not complaining, because in the UK anyway, AA batteries are far cheaper than the 9V ones. And you can see in the bag along with the batteries is the Allen key to adjust the truss rod if you have to do that. And the piece of paper is just some information about the batteries. And to put the batteries in the guitar, we simply have to slide out the battery housing, put the batteries in the right way round, and then slide it back in, which is a lot easier done when you're not trying to work around a camera. And we can check if the power's working alright by turning the guitar on. And you do this by holding down the power button for a couple of seconds, and a little green LED comes on. And then to turn the guitar off, you have to hold the power button in again for a couple of seconds. To use the tuner, you just have to hit the tuner button whilst the power's on, and then you just use it like any other tuner. So I'll just tune the guitar up quickly. I'll speed this bit up again. Because it's a nylon strung guitar, I'm going to tune the guitar up and then let it rest for a while and then tune it again. Because nylon strung guitars take a lot longer to settle down than steel strung guitars. And once the guitar's settled for a while, I'm going to tune it again, but this time I'm also going to have a separate tuner so I can compare the tuners to see if the inbuilt tuner is accurate. I'm not speeding this bit up because it obviously affects the sound, and you might want to hear some of what's going on. This was a really successful test, and it proved that the tuner built into the guitar is really accurate. In fact, it was more responsive and more accurate than the external tuner, but I kind of expected this, as the external tuner is just working off a microphone and the guitar is very quiet. Right, let's just take a good look around the guitar so you know what you're getting if you're thinking of buying one of these guitars. The finish on the guitar is a mixed finish, and the wings, the neck and the headstock are all satin matte finish, whereas the finish on the body part is a high gloss. The headstock is the typical shape you'd get on any classical or nylon strung guitar, and the quality of the tuners is excellent. Something this guitar's got that you don't get on many nylon strung guitars is a truss rod. And this is a real bonus because it allows you to adjust the neck relief. And this means you'll be able to get the action as low as it can possibly be on this guitar. And this, if you really are fussy about your action, can be a real bonus. At the end of the headstock is a 50mm nut, and the fingerboard is flat, giving it the feel it should have for a classical guitar. However, the neck isn't as wide or as deep as most classical guitars. So if you're coming over from a steel strung guitar or an electric guitar, you will find this a little easier to play than a full classical guitar. The neck is that satin matte finish, and the grain is quite open. So the back of the neck is quite unrefined, and it's not as smooth as you'd think. And on this particular guitar, it's actually got a stripe where the sander doesn't seem to have done its job properly. And when I first picked it up, I thought it was really quite bad. I have gotten used to it as I've played it, but it might be worth you trying one of these in the shop. And it's a shame I haven't got access to another one of these, because I'd like to know if that's a factory error or if they're all like that. I can tell you that the steel strung neck is considerably neater than this neck, and I will do a comparison between the two in a separate video. The frets are smooth and flat, and there's no sharp edges on them at all, and there's no bad sanding. So the frets are really good and the fingerboard's really good, and it's ready to play from that point of view. Getting down to the body, the wings are done in the satin finish with open grain again, and it really works for the wings. They look nice and they feel nice. And the attachment between the wings and the body, this metal bracketing system, is really fantastic. It's really strong and it's really well made, and even if you're taking the wing on and off day after day, I would imagine it would take years to wear that out. It's a really good system. For the body of the guitar, they've gone for a high gloss finish, and it looks really good, and it matches up with the satin finishes really well. And all the joints are really well made, the metal joints as well as the glued joints. So the overall construction of the guitar is absolutely excellent, and apart from that slight flaw on the back of the neck, I can't see anything wrong with the way it's been put together at all. Saying all that though, I do have to agree with some of the people who commented on the review I did of the steel strung version of this guitar, and that is that the scratch plate is a bit of a letdown, and it's just sort of cheap and plasticky. They could have put a bit more effort into that. And another comment I got from the previous video was, is the guitar silent and why didn't I show it? Well, the guitar isn't silent, but it is very quiet, and I'll try and show it best I can now. To show this, I'll use the inbuilt microphone on the camera, and I'll play a couple of riffs on a full-size Yamaha classical guitar, and then I'll play the same riffs on the silent strings, and then hopefully you can hear the difference in the volume between the two guitars. The microphone in the camera isn't the best, but hopefully that gives you an idea of how quiet the guitar is. And I'd say it's about as loud as an electric guitar unplugged, which is basically what it is. And whilst I've got it out, here's some comparisons in size between the full-size classical guitar and the silent strings. And regarding the feel, they feel nothing alike, but I prefer the feel of the silent strings if I'm honest. Right, let's take a look at the sockets on the guitar. And if we start on the bottom of the guitar, you can see you've got the option of a power supply, and it takes a power supply of between 9 and 12 volts. And next to that, there's an auxiliary in, and this can be used by an MP3 player or your phone or any playback device, so you can provide yourself with backings to play along with. Around the back of the guitar is the standard jack plug output socket, and this is a switching socket, so the minute you put a plug in, the power will come on. It's also worth noting that it's actually a line out. However, in the instructions it says you can plug it into a guitar amp, into powered speakers, into recording equipment, or into a mixing desk without additional equipment. And around the other side of the guitar, where the controls are, there's a mini jack socket on the end, which is your headphone socket. And this allows you to plug headphones straight into the guitar. However, this isn't a switching socket, so if you want to hear what you're playing, you'll have to turn the power on. Right, let's take a look at the controls. And we've already looked at the power switch and the tuner button. And next to that is the volume control, which is the master volume for the whole guitar. And Yamaha recommend you turn this down before plugging into anything, at least until you've got your system set up for the guitar. Next to the volume control is the blend control, and it goes between the pickup and the mic. However, the mic isn't a true mic, it's a modelling system. However, this is a very powerful control because it really does open up the guitar and give it a lot more variation in tones, but I'll demonstrate that later. And next to that control is the treble and the bass, and these do exactly what you expect them to do. A nice touch on these is that they lock about mid-sweep, so you can either add treble or remove treble, or add bass or remove bass. Moving on from the bass and treble controls, we come to the auxiliary level control. And this pairs up with the auxiliary in on the other side of the guitar. And it allows you to control the level of whatever you've plugged into the auxiliary in, so you get a good mix through the output socket or through the headphones. The final knob is for the effects, and there's 3 effects available, 2 reverbs and a chorus, and I'll demonstrate those in a bit. Right, let's plug in the guitar so you can hear what it sounds like. And I'll start by just sweeping between the pickup and the mic, and back to the pickup and then to the mic, so you can hear the difference between the 2 sounds and a balanced position in the middle of the 2. Don't know about you, but I didn't hear much difference between the 3 settings. There is a difference, but it's quite subtle, and this is nothing like the steel strung guitar, where the difference between the mic and the pickup is quite massive. I'll just strum a basic chord and try again. It sounds to me like the difference is greater on the bass strings than on the top strings, so I'll just try a 2-octave scale so I can hear each string individually. Yes, with those tests I'm quite convinced there's a fair difference between the two positions. And of course, being able to blend between the two positions, there's an infinite number of sounds you can get out of the guitar. Right, I'll just check the bass and treble work and what they do to the tone. Well, they do more or less exactly what you expect them to do. The bass has quite a good strong effect, but the treble is more subtle, but it does have an effect. Right, let's hear the two reverbs, and what I'll do is I'll just click the strings, because this is by far the easiest way to hear what the reverb's doing to the guitar. The first reverb is a kind of plate reverb. The second reverb seems to be a kind of hall or chamber reverb. I quite like the reverbs, especially number 2, and they do give a warm feeling to the guitar. Now, to check the chorus, clicks won't work, so I'll play a few chords. First I'll play clean, and then at 50% and then at 100%. Let's hear that again at about 50% chorus. Finally, 100% chorus. Having some effects in the guitar is really nice, especially if you're using it as a travelling guitar. And their choice of effects is nice as well, so it's a good feature to have. For the last test, I'll do exactly the same test I did on the steel strung version of the guitar. So I'll use the backing track for the Troubled Heart played through the auxiliary in, and you'll be able to hear the mixed version, so you can hear how it sounds with the backing track with the guitar on, mixed through the guitar itself. I'll also use some of the second reverb, because I like this and I think it'll sound quite nice. That's The Troubled Heart by Sad Fantasy, and if you want to learn to play it, I'll put the link to the lesson and the tab down below in the description. In conclusion then, I really like this guitar. I like the way it looks and I like the feel. And if you're used to an electric guitar or a contemporary steel strung guitar, going to this guitar is relatively easy if you compare it with going to a full classical guitar. Whilst playing the tests, I noticed it was a little bit buzzy, but this just tells me it needs to be set up. And out of the box it plays okay, so that's just me being fussy really. In the perfect world, it would be nice to have a bit more control over the effects, or maybe more effects. And in the comments for the steel strung guitar, I think other people felt the same way. And maybe Yamaha will catch up and do this. But at the moment, as it is, it's still a perfectly good guitar, and the effects are perfectly usable. And even the ability to fold the guitar away so it doesn't take up much space, I think that's a real bonus. Especially if you live in a small flat or apartment, or you don't have much room in your studio. I'll give it a couple of weeks or so, and then I'll do an update on this guitar and the steel strung version. And I'll go through the things I've discovered, and also I'll do a comparison of the two guitars. So if you want to see that video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon, and then you'll be notified when I upload it. And if you're looking for some guitar lessons, you'll find them on my YouTube channel. And if you want to study a short course to learn the guitar properly, you'll find them in the playlists. Or alternatively, you can find them at www.ebooks4guitar.com. And all the guitar lessons and guitar courses are free to view online. The only time you'd have to pay anything was if you wanted to buy the PDFs so you could download them to your device. Thank you very much for watching, and obviously any support is appreciated. If you share any of the videos or if you like and subscribe, it is really appreciated. Thank you.